Great experiences build great leaders. Great leaders build great teams. This is Building Great Sales Teams.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Building Great Sales Teams podcast. I've got Ann Sieg here. She's a CEO at e-commerce business school. Ann, along with her family, has generated over 20 million in online sales. She's a mompreneur, online serial entrepreneur, and Amazon power seller. She's generated 4 million in sales with her first ebook in 2004, serviced over 9,000 students, and has done 50 live events. Ann, welcome to the show.
Thank you. If I may, I'd like to clarify a little bit there.
Of course.
So I'm not the Amazon expert. What I am is a marketer. And so I build the sales funnels, build the teams, all of that. I used to have a training company where we taught online sales funnels to a particular audience, shifted into Amazon training through a whole different interesting backend and all, or backstory and all that kind of stuff. So just so people are clear, my thing is marketing and sales. I love it. I grew up with it. That's kind of my life.
Awesome. Well, so one of my favorite titles in there, which is a lot of titles, you've got a lot of experience, so I would definitely want to dive into all that. But one of my favorite ones is Mompreneur. Can you walk me through that a little bit?
Well, I had to admit, I don't associate myself so much with that term, but I'm more than happy to do so. Yeah. Basically, my husband and I have had a number of different businesses over the years. Our married lives, we're coming up on 40-year anniversary this year. But so we had done real estate investment. We had a windshield replacement business. And then, and throughout all those years, I did direct sales. So raising kids, very entrepreneurial, and I have no problem bouncing a few balls on the side, meaning endeavors and whatnot. So yeah, in the mompreneur scope, yes, there was a season of that, but my boys are long since raised and grown. But I will say, out of that, my eldest son did become my business partner, and we were partners for 10 years. So as a mompreneur that was able to actually demonstrate and live entrepreneurship while raising my sons, they've all come to work in my business for me. My youngest son is our full-time content manager and videographer. And then my eldest son actually took a 6-month hiatus and came back this past August. But all to say, it is really true what they say, that women can do a lot of things simultaneously. And we tend to have kind of some natural managerial skills. And I don't mean that carte blanche, but so I can take on quite a lot. And so that's what I did is I wanted to get my husband home at this, as the story goes, back in 2004. And so your camera thing is interesting, just saying. So in any case, sorry, kind of doing little zigzags and having fun stuff there. So yeah, really the story of the mompreneur. So, okay, now that little preface there, basically, I do not like the mindset of kids getting handouts. Basically it was, oh, so you want what? What is it that you want? Okay, great. Let's find a way for you to earn that. And so I'll just use that as an example. When I did Avon, so this is a younger generation, I'm going to gather primarily your audience, but there's a company called Avon, and they did direct sales and still do. And so my young sons would go with me. So we would do these door knobbers, which you just hang these plastic bags. This is like in the old, do you remember the physical world where you actually did these kind of things? Yeah, that world.
All of my organizations, all of my sales teams are built on door to door, or even like B2B, it's been door to door. You know what I'm saying?
Door to door is the best. And that's what I started with. And there is no replacing that, because you got to be ballsy, gutsy, whatever you want to call it. That you don't get to run and hide behind your screen. No, you're going to knock on the door. They're going to peer through and go, oh, Fred, do we really want to answer that? And the whole little thing that unfolds. So anyways, so I did that. But I'll just say, so if they needed something, I'll even go so far as to say, when the eldest needed braces, I said, do you want braces? He said, yeah. And I said, okay, great. We'll find a way to earn money to pay for those braces. I basically, as a quote unquote mompreneur, my philosophy was always to let them know, if you want something, you got to go out and get it. That's how the real world works. Not have
Mhm.
mommy and daddy hand out. It's not like we didn't give them gifts and this kind of stuff, but hey, it looks like you're able bodied. I think you can work. And personally, I think we withhold giving responsibility to
Mhm.
children and we treat them like babies now into, through high school. And it's like, no, they're actually much more capable than we give them credit for. So the first hire I had was my youngest son when he was in seventh grade. And I homeschooled for 12 years. So I get to be the principal and decide what was important and was business.
Fantastic.
So yeah, so at David, I said, because it was basically a low value activity as you sort through your high value and low value, it was
Mhm.
my lead processing. And at that time, we were sending out a collateral marketing piece, which was I'm trying to remember. No, by that time we are at CDs. Yeah, I think we were at CDs by this time, not cassette tapes. So your group probably never dealt with the cassette tapes. But anyways, and
I
so
did.
you
I'm
did cassette
I'm
tapes.
37. I had cassette tapes. I remember
Okay,
I had a Michael Jackson cassette tape. Yeah.
okay, you're 1 year younger than my eldest son, by the way. So,
Nice.
in any case, so I said, "Hey, David, I'd like to hire you for this position." So I was going to pay him because it was valuable work. And
Mhm.
then I trained him up. Boom, lickety split. He learned to do it much faster and more proficiently than me. Here, I just approved one of our content pieces for a upcoming webinar next week for it was that outro that I said the CTA. That's not quite right. Anyways, so here he went from in seventh grade processing my leads by the mailer, you know, just the print out the
Mhm.
letter, do and all that kind of thing. And now he does all the video creatives and whatnot. So basically, it was that I gave them a lot of responsibility. I don't want to raise babies.
Mhm.
I want to raise them so they can learn fast. So my son became the top affiliate marketer by age 20 or so for Get Response, Best Western, Walmart. It was through Google AdWords.
Wow.
And basically, so I got exposed to Robert Kiyosaki and I said, okay, you should read every book this guy has written. And then he started to do businesses. And I said, you know what? I don't care if you succeed or not. That's not what I'm concerned about. It's what you're going to learn from it.
Mhm.
And so basically, I gave him the freedom to try a lot of things in high school. Good time to do it.
Yeah.
And then we partnered up officially when he was 21. I had gone on to learn direct sales online, and he was studying Gary Halbert and top copywriters and all that kind of thing. Then he
Mhm.
had a really bad motorcycle accident. He had to come in and move with us because he had terrible road rash and whatnot. And then I said, you should really think about coming to work with me. And he said, I'll think about that. And then he said, yeah. And so that was 2000, 2005. It was that summer. He wiped
Mhm.
out July 19th, I think it was. So anyway, so that accident led to him. Then subsequently, we joined forces as a mom and son team. So I
Uh-huh.
guess you are getting a bigger mompreneur story here.
No, it's fantastic, and there's a ton of alignment there because, you know, my wife, she's been the wife of an entrepreneur for 12 years before this past year. So she was a school teacher on and off. She stayed home with the kids often because my business afforded us to do that. But just this year, because of everything that's been going on in the education system,
Oh, yeah.
she decided to open up her own tutoring business. You
Oh,
know,
good for her.
she has a physical location with a classroom, and she's got
Yeah.
clients coming in and and they're homeschool parents that come in for
Yes.
kind of that extra, if they're having issues with math or having issues with reading,
Yes.
she kind of gives them that extra push that they need in order to complete their studies.
Yeah.
And
Congratulations for your wife for that.
yeah, she's crushing it. She's crushing it. So there's a lot of alignment there in the sense that whenever our kids want something, we definitely make them work for it. Now,
Yeah.
I haven't integrated them into the business yet, which
Oh.
my daughter has shown a lot of interest, and my son's all about, he's doing plays and he's being an
Oh.
actor and he's being a
Oh, yeah.
creative, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But my daughter's already shown
Yeah.
interest, so I think
Huh.
it's the right time to start incorporating her into it. I was worried that, if I brought them in too young, you know what I mean, that I would be
Oh.
influencing them rather than having them come to me. And
Oh.
that's kind of been the strategy
Huh.
so far. But I'm like, you know what? There's no reason they can't come in and earn money. You know what I
See,
mean? Just like any other job, right?
yeah. Well, I get where you're coming from. And by the way, so my mom did tutoring.
Hmm.
all through the summer months. So I, grew up, we had this porch and kids were getting dropped off all throughout the day. And my mom would tutor the kids out on the porch. And that's where I learned my educational philosophy. My mom never believed in that child is slow. She would never read the notes from the previous school teacher of
Uh-huh.
the previous, she didn't want to read, oh, so-and-so is thus and thus and this and that.
Then
She
get it
didn't
in her head.
want exactly to come in with these preconceived notions. And this that's a whole nother topic. The school
Hmm.
systems are so incredibly broken. And
Hmm.
that's why I homeschooled. And my parents cheered me on. They're both former teachers. And they're like, yeah, this is a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, I'm confident in what I want my kids to grow up and learn and know. I
Hmm.
don't, I'm not dependent on some school system. It's a system. That's their system.
Right.
I'll decide on the system
I
and,
love it.
and what I deem to be important instead of that system dictating. No, thank you. So I'm kind of, that's my parents raised me with that kind of mindset.
You were
Um,
you're about 20 years ahead of your time because everybody's in that mindset now, you know?
oh, well, that was because of my dad and his philosophy.
Uh-huh.
There was a home filled with a lot of, you know,
Education.
education and philosophy. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So with the kids, yeah, it's just like I want them to learn. If you want something, you got to go get it. And I
Hmm.
can help do that. Here's a way that you can earn some money. But yeah, kids are smart. So on that note, with our Amazon people, my basic theme is that we help strengthen the family economy. And
I
I'll
love
say,
that.
I always want to find out what the kids, how many kids they have. And they might be 4. And I'm like, oh, great. Super. They're going to be able to help you. And they're probably thinking, what? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, they can. So I have many, many, many stories of families who have brought their kids in because it's what I did. It was natural.
I
It was
love that.
natural for me to get the kids to do the work.
No, that's fantastic because I mean, most of us now understand, okay, the different tax laws that are in place that we can pay our kids every year. And so it's like, right now I pay my kids for modeling and some administrative tasks, right? Modeling is the easiest one because they're all over my Instagram, my Facebook, and that's where
Oh,
leads come in. And so you're able to pay them, I think it's like up to like 15,500 a year now, and it's tax free, right?
that's right. That's a
Yeah.
lot of bucks.
Yeah. And so I got 3 kids.
Oh, do the math and you're looking good.
Yeah, exactly.
Tax free, no FICA.
Okay, so when you first got into, well, what I read is that your first 4 months taking that leap into, I guess it was working from home at the time, and you and your husband had already run some businesses and everything, but this was kind of like a solo venture into entrepreneurship, and you went from 2K to 90K in 4 months. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was actually by that point, my son had, I solicited his help because
Hmm.
I could see that I was capped out. I was dependent on my quote unquote uplines
Okay.
leads, and I was raring to go. I wanted more. And so I'm like, hey, let's partner up because I
Hmm.
brought some certain skill sets to the table that I had learned. I mean, we complemented each other perfectly. So
Hmm.
basically, what happened is we first, in business, it's a series of leapfrogging processes
Hmm.
when you have an eye towards what you can leverage that's already existing. Um, and so this particular sales company had a training piece. It had a booklet, and I think they were CDs by that time.
Hmm.
And we thought, heck, we asked the owner. They weren't a really huge company. And said, hey, can we sell that? So we wrote a sales page, and then he was good at Google AdWords. So
Hmm.
that's what that's referring to is when
Wow.
we propositioned them because that was our lead magnet. Back then, it was more. I mean, it could have been a ebook thing,
Hmm.
but at that time, that was ready made. So we were a factory, basically, our basement. Then I had the middle son was doing shipping. I mean, that's when I told my husband, because what happened is, so a little backstory about the windshield business is a new law came out in the state of Minnesota and it wiped out all the little mom and pops.
Hmm.
So then he's doing all these crazy odd jobs. But it was when we started to do the marketing of this other company's material. That's when we went to 2000 and 90,000. It first started with us leveraging someone else's stuff. We didn't have to
Right.
make the thing. We were the marketers
Yeah,
of
you're
the
just marketing
thing.
at that point.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
made a good profit on that through the lead magnet, so to speak. And then we also, let's see, we were selling it and at a profit, of course. But then those became my leads to prospect and bring into my gig. So I was monetizing. Back then this is a little more innovative. Like now this is very commonplace.
Right.
But so we were monetizing it by selling this company's training material. Then that was the leads that were basically, they're like, yeah, I was looking for an expert. Can I enroll with you? And they would be jumping out of their other direct sales companies to join me because, well, for one, I had all these leads. And so I had this whole organization that I was funneling leads to that were highly qualified. As you know, anyone who puts down money up front, I'm trying to remember, it was maybe a 67, I don't remember the exact price point. But so that's what we did. And then my son says, Mom, here's what we could do. We could create our own lead magnet. And then we could have a much higher ROAS. And then we could really crush it. I'm like, let's do it. So that was the birth of the Renegade Network Marketer, which I have a little thing up on the wall. That little thing up there on the wall, that's the flow chart of our funnel. That was way back in 2007. We sold 4 million of that ebook.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so it was really cool that we did it within our family ecosystem. So for example, when he was an affiliate for like GetResponse and these different companies, back then he would run out of money, he had to pause his ads, and then we would help to offset that, because he's like, if I could just keep the ads going. He was learning the whole science of it. And with that, you had to wait for your affiliate payout. So when we created our affiliate program, it was the first of its kind in our niche. I don't know about other niches. And anyways, and it was basically that they could sign up for a bunch of affiliate programs underneath us. And when we sent out an email, we would put in their affiliate code, like Perry Marshall's book. This is so long ago, but you know who Perry Marshall is, right?
I've heard his name before.
Okay.
I don't know who he is though.
He was the guru of Google AdWords, and it was called, I don't remember the name, but anyways, and then AWeber, and so they could sign up for all these affiliate programs that were essentially people were starting to learn online marketing for the very first time. Well, as you know, there's a whole stack of stuff to do that. So basically we would send out our emails, and as they generated leads, and they would earn a profit. So it was like the most ideal affiliate marketing program that was extremely affiliate friendly, because my son had been an affiliate. So he knew all the pitfalls, and then we came up with a plan to remedy all those.
Well, that's fantastic, because, you've been in the business for a while now, and a lot of the things I'm hearing you walk through is the pioneers of these type of programs or funnels or marketing in general. But your business now, you're still on the precipice of everything that's happening in marketing, right? So tell me about your business now.
Yeah. So this is about my 18th year. So we transitioned in e-commerce, which was a really, really good thing, because basically what was happening is we were promoting direct sales, aka network marketing, and every advertising platform hates that niche, and they'll shut you down. So this has been a beautiful move. Really so we had an ascension funnel, the typical ascension funnel, go up, boom. And then I remember being in a consultation with, Todd Brown. There's got to be people I would guess are familiar with Todd Brown. I don't know.
I'm sure there are.
Yeah. Okay. So I got into a consultation, a free consult, after I bought a little ebook of some sort, which was their lead magnet. And I'm like, oh, heck yeah. I didn't know anything about Todd Brown or anything. And someone had just said, hey, check out this book funnel. And I thought, okay, I'll check it out. And he says, why don't, we had a 3K offer at that time. He says, have you thought about taking that front end? I'm like, actually, no. Because I had a warm list that I marketed to. We lived off of for about 8 years. It was from that book. We had about 400,000 people. But anyways, so I'm like, yeah, why don't I do that? So that was October of 2019. And it took me about 5 months to finally get it to convert. And so we've had that funnel for 3 years. So now it's a 6,800 price
Wow.
point. And now the heavy of it. So I love marketing. The heavy of it was the sales team. Oh, and where your sales conversions depends all on your ability to manage a team of people. And
Absolutely.
that has been one massive humdinger. And
Let's talk about it.
Oh man, I just got off with the gal. I'm now training up to be the setter manager.
Okay.
So I'm a systems person. So I thought, because we were doing the closer had to do both steps. So it was a 2-step. And then we're like, oh, you know what? Let's try the setter system, which we had tried. We're always testing.
Yeah.
And we outsourced for someone else to do the setting. We're like, that just doesn't work. Because we move really, really fast and we're testing. We need the feedback. And when you got this outsource thing going on, just bogs down the communication.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. So it was very painful. So then it was like, okay, then we did a test with one of our Filipino VAs where we tested with him doing the sets. And then my co-manager, he did 15 sales. And I'm like, so many with Michael, the Filipino, which is not like what the quality of an American, because an American just has, and I'm like, dang, we're onto something here. Right. So then it's like, let's shift. Because I said, okay, so the theory would be the setters will keep the closer's calendar full instead of the closer having to do both roles. So this is all since June of 2022. And I just marvel at, I like marketing because it's A/B split testing and you can go tweak a headliner or whatever.
Same thing.
Oh, and sales, oh my gosh. You got personalities.
Personalities are definitely a wrench in the system, but at the end of the day, there's an average in there, right?
There is.
You can still split test.
Yeah, and it's hard, and I hear you, and we're not as finessed in it. So so the sales team we've had, we were doing it internal for years. It was just 3 of us, and, it was easy. But now we're trying to build a team for scale.
Right.
And so it requires really world-class management and a lot of testing. So they have to do their projections and their stats every day. They have to do an end-of-day report and then the daily meetup and, this whole cadence of habituating them into these success drivers
which is incredibly important for salespeople. They need that structure and cadence. As much as they complain about it, they need it.
And they need someone who will tap.
Yeah.
EOD isn't done. Everything. You can't assume that because they're doing it this week, they're going to continue the next week. Oh, no. Right. So it's that whole thing of governance of what are the governance? Like you can set up systems unless you have governance, meaning an eye on the execution. And so we have a VA assigned. One of her job duties is to, hey, don't forget your end of day report, right. So anyways, last month we did have our best month ever. So it was like, okay. And I'm huge about having systems. So it's like, I shifted into sales almost full time while running the entire company and doing marketing. And it's a humdinger. But all I thought is I will design the system and then I'll train someone else to take over the system for me because I'm so not staying here. It
might be stressing you out a little bit.
What's that?
It might be stressing you out a little bit.
Oh man. It's just, and you really have to know your people and their temperaments and what's going on in their life now. Looks like probably gonna have a chit chat. So we now do these war meetings every week, weekly action review, one-on-one.
Nice.
And I have everything's a system. So when I have my weekly war meetings, I want to know, what's your schedule for the next week, 30 days. Because what I hate is, oh yeah, and so I'm going to be gone for 10 days next week. And it's like, what?
How many people do you have right now?
Setters, we have 4 with one guy who jumps in as needed when lead flow is booking it. Okay. And then closers, we have 3 full-time with our other guy who's like the glue and jumps in. Nice. So it's the whole finesse of making that calendar so there's no wasted time here,
Right.
So what we did is we have them back to back right now. And so if one is running over, no problem.
Mhm.
You should give us a shout out and so will jump in, who's also like administrator manager. In other words, we want your calendar full. We want to be closing down. We want productivity.
Mhm.
So we're probably nowhere near as advanced as you are, because this is more, well, with setters now.
Mhm.
So it's 2 teams that have to be
Wow.
managed and everything in sync. So today was about, we need to do more role playing and such.
Absolutely.
A lot more.
Talking my language. I love
Yeah,
role
we
play.
kind of got spanked in the butt on that one. Role playing every day, chop chop, and I was getting lazy on it. You just can't get lazy.
Who told you that? I'm curious.
You mean who we do have a mentor? Is that what you want me to disclose? If I don't know.
I mean, I was just curious because that's one of my I stick to that philosophy that your sales people need role play every day.
It's our client success manager. We're working right now at Closers.io. Closers.io. And we had worked with 2 other teams previously, and it's just, and I'm
Cole's fantastic. Cole's fantastic. I follow all his stuff.
Yeah, we're in the 8-figure boardroom thing now, but he's just so ridiculously disciplined. It's just like, are you human? But it really is the discipline, the morning routines and everything. And you're just trying to create this really strong humming machine that you just high level productivity. So, it's a lot.
I'll speak to that a little bit, and then we can kind of back into the sales team again. But I think what it's done is there's more information out there in the world, and that information is telling a lot of entrepreneurs like, hey, it's as much about your morning routine, your mindset, your health, as it is about your talents in your business and your intellect. And if you can dial in those things and become incredibly disciplined, then all of a sudden the intellect and the talent isn't as important. Now, somebody that has both, all right, now we're cooking with peanut oil. You know what I mean? And so I feel like over the last couple of years, I've been kind of exposed to a lot of that development mindset. And it really has closed the gap that I had before where I wasn't disciplined. And I was working 20, 30 hours a week, making 6 figures, doing just fine, you know what I mean? But not really engaged in my work and passionate about it. And then I was exposed to a mastermind, and then it's been massive for me. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So going back to the sales piece of it. So setter closer model is one of my favorite models because it is built for scale, right? You have the closers doing what they're great at 100% of the time. You have the setters doing what they're great at 100% of the time. Then you also have an opportunity structure. And I don't know if y'all have played with this or not. If you have maybe one of those VAs or a closer level type person, or they're bringing the best leads, or they're setting the salespeople up the best.
Yeah.
And so it creates an opportunity structure where, okay, you're setter today, but in 6 months, we may, if you hit these marks, if you hit these minimums, then we can promote you to closer eventually.
Yeah. No, we don't have that structured out. I thought what you were going to was grade leading and then giving the best leads. We're doing a test right now with that, but no, we have not structured that out, to be honest. But I hear what you're saying, because my one gal who took off like a rock star right away as a setter, it's like, dang, straight out of the gate. But I have her as manager. I need her more as manager than closer.
Well, that's an opportunity structure is good.
That still would be the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's really cool because what we also integrated is the Kolbe test. Is a personality, I'm probably not describing it correctly, but a personality profiling test of sorts. There's many out there. And in this case, what Kolbe has is where you have the person who is good at that position take that Kolbe test profile for that position. Then as you're doing your interviewing, and we paid for this, we paid a chunk because that's a lost opportunity. When you have a mishire, it's very, very costly for your business. So we're like, okay, this is October. So we did that profile, and then we had the people we were interviewing that we felt were the 2 or 3 top best take that test. And so then it was like, okay, manager role. And I consider myself a pretty strong manager. So I took the test, and then this gal, the one that I'm like, she's got the goods. I know she
Yeah.
does. I can tell. She scored really high, matching the profile.
Nice.
So because I'd rather invest on the front end to ensure I'm getting the right
Absolutely.
person. Yeah, because that training time, the onboarding, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so then she's so good at everything. So it's like, okay, she still
You're gonna have to
maintains.
send her this show. She'll love
She's,
it.
yeah, so I give her kudos a lot, and she remains humble. But she
Uh-huh.
did double the sales. You put the two other guys together, she did more than that by one.
Mhm.
Okay, and then we're throwing on all these new admin tasks. Dang, she's still crushing it. And
Okay.
so she's very good at. She's just the perfect person for that. But we said there's these three things, and which one do you like best? Which one floats your boat the most? And she said, management.
I love it.
Yes, because that is a unique role that some
Mhm.
people will never be suited for
And
management.
it's not usually the top performing salesperson that's built for it either. So she is rare. I'll
Yeah,
tell you that right now. She's rare.
yeah. She is very rare because now we have her helping with the group Facebook group lead funnel, and she loves
Uh-huh.
all the analytical stuff.
Oh, that's
Okay,
fantastic.
so she's kind of like everything, but I
Mhm.
can't burn her out either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the way you don't burn her out is give her good systems. You know what I mean? And to where when she's managing her setters, she's managing spreadsheets more than the setters, if that makes sense, because she
Mhm.
has a visual on all their performance and key
Yeah,
metrics and indicators. And
right.
she's able to, when she does have conversations with them, it's a very intentional
Mhm.
conversation that's going to include coaching on the back end. It's going to get her
Mm.
people where they need to be. So
Yeah.
so many sales managers aren't given the right tools. And so they're going to their
Mm.
salesperson saying, "Hey, what's going on here? Why are your numbers down?"
Yeah.
They have no clue because they can't see a diagnostic report that can show them, okay, the conversion rates are falling off here, which means the entry level or the introduction is weak, or
Mm.
maybe their qualification isn't good enough, or their presentation is weak, or they're
Mm.
not asking for the sale. But you couldn't see that because the metrics weren't there.
Mm.
So it's one of the things we do is break up the that that prospecting and sales process into different metrics so that we can see at
Mm.
which conversion points are they actually
Oh,
falling off. So
within
that
any given call, you mean in a discovery
yeah,
call, and you're doing metrics for each segment of the call even?
correct. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, no, we're
And
not to that
and
level.
in the sales process too. So when you're
Yeah,
going from setter all the way to closer,
closer
where
to,
are the
yeah.
most customers? And that's where when I do an audit, that's where I start. I start
Mm.
wide, and then I'm looking for, okay, where's the conversion rate that we can improve? Because that's the most
Mhm.
immediate impact in the business, and they can
Yeah,
get an ROI on my consulting fee a lot faster if I get right after that conversion rate.
right.
Honestly, that's where I go first
That makes
on it.
perfect sense. Yeah, like the most critical KPI is, well, did you book the call?
Right.
And I'm looking
That's
over the stats
close.
yesterday. I'm like, well, this is for setters to get to
Mhm.
book a call for the closers. And I'm
Closers.
like, okay, Anna did 10, and you guys, and she had the least amount of dials, except for one guy had 19. She had 20. And I'm like,
Mhm.
you guys have 2, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And Anna got 10. So what's
Where's
breaking apart here?
the disconnect? Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to really look at the numbers.
Mhm.
It is a gargantuan task compared to marketing funnels. It's just cold stuff. This is people
But
that you have to coach.
it really is a beautiful thing though, because you're not saying, let me just outsource this, sales management, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're in it, you're in the thick of it, you know
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah.
And you're
And
challenging yourself and you're
you're
growing.
responsible for it too.
You could just stick to what you know, but you're taking that leap, and I love that. That's fantastic. Okay, so let's pivot a little bit here. And I would love for you to educate my audience on e-commerce, right?
Oh,
I feel
okay.
like if there's any gap that my audience has, it's online sales in
Mm.
general, right?
Oh, really? Okay.
It's a lot of what we teach or not what we teach, what we learn in our mastermind. So a lot of the reason why I have this podcast is because I'm branding myself, building my authority. But when it comes to actual product sales online, you mentioned that you teach the 3 pillars of e-commerce. What are
Mm-hmm.
those?
Yeah. Well, and I'll just say relative to, so I used to teach sales funnels, how to build those, and
Mhm.
it's a very, very high level skill set. It's not easily learned. I mean, anyone can put together a sales funnel, but is it converting? That's at the end of the day. Is it converting? And so the difference with shifting in Amazon is they are the sales funnel.
Right.
So what I talk about in our 3 pillars of e-commerce success, which is like one of our biggest pillar content pieces, is number one of that pillar of success is you got to generate cash flow. So you're looking for a business model that you can jumpstart pretty quickly to get the cash flow going. Because even within the scope of different options on Amazon, you could start with the arbitrage method or you could start with private label. Well, with private label, it might take 8 or 9 months before you even get your product ready to ship into Amazon. So you've got this long play. And so it really depends on how deep a person's pockets are or what their experience is. But for beginners, we start them out at arbitrage because it's so fast. I have a gal who did $5,000 in her first month doing arbitrage. It's so simple. And so the easiest is when you use your phone and you download the Amazon Seller app, which was created by Amazon, and you scan products in their UPC code, like this product right here, you scan it, and it's going to pull up, if it's on the Amazon catalog, exactly the numbers. And all you have to put in is the store number, what you would be paying for, and it's going to show the profitability, how many sellers, what the sales velocity is, etc. It's such a fast way to start. So rather than someone building a digital online marketing funnel with their ebook, and we already brought quite a bit to the table when we first built our funnel and whatnot. Anyway, so generate cash flow is pillar number one. Pillar number two is to automate systems. And you automate systems so that you can free up your time and scale up your business. So I'm a huge believer in, having everything imaginable. Zapier, for example, you love spreadsheets. We do too. I love spreadsheets. Well, most everything is getting zapped. There's hardly anything that's manual. No, thank you. I don't want to have to pay a VA to put in all this stuff. I can just look at my leads coming in and everything's been zapped, and we've got a grading system. And so anyways, so automating systems, you have to enter into a business with that in mind, I feel, if you have the intent to grow and scale. And then lastly is to look at that business model and do you have the capacity to build assets through that so that you can either sell or pass on to your children. So to recap, the 3 pillars are generate cash flow, automate systems, and build assets are the 3 pillars of e-commerce success, which basically applies. You could take that to any brick and mortar business, anything at all. So that's what I tell people to look for.
I love that. I don't think enough business owners start with the end in mind. I don't think they start with the idea of, hey, I'm going to sell this business someday. And here's the deal. They may never sell the business, but a business that is sellable is a profitable, well-run business.
Well-run.
That makes sense. So if you're always pushing to be sellable, then you're going to have a great business on your hands.
Yeah. And really, no one wants to, well, I shouldn't say no one, but a good investor is going to look for a business that has replicatable, there's processes and systems in place and people to run them. That's the beauty of the franchise model. As they say, it's already been created. You step in, etc. Here's how you hire people. Here's how you do this, how you fry the French fries. It's all laid out. So that's what we teach our people, because all too often they would get down the lane and they get hit a wall. And so, because we're always studying how can we improve the experience for our members. And it was like, they're not coming in with the right mindset from day one, which is to grow a business with systems and processes and people that will be running them for you. Obviously, you move down at whatever speed, it's not done overnight.
Right.
But at least then you're circumventing this notion that it all depends on you.
And that's taking them from employee to entrepreneur. I mean,
yes, it is.
That's a whole nother journey. You're not just teaching them how to run the business. You're coaching them too. You're coaching them on mindset, the entrepreneur mindset. That's
the biggest part. I always tell them, I say, it's all up here is the most important predicator of your success. So when you see Susie taking off, Susie had
something clicked.
Yeah, she had the right mindset. And they got a long ways to go for their mindset, because they really don't know what it means. It's all a foreign land to them, and they have no idea of what it means to own a business. But we do study our audience, and we take note of who has a propensity to do better. And our medical people, they do really well. Part of it is, obviously the more pain-driven and motivated they are typically in life, the more they're going to work at. And they are leaving a place of pain, similar to your
Yeah,
wife going. There's a lot of transitions going on in the world right now,
absolutely.
ton of them.
No,
And so, yeah.
it's amazing. And, a lot of people like to make fun of the fact that everybody's an entrepreneur now, you know what I mean? But it's like, that's a beautiful thing. We're taking our world back a little bit by doing that, so I'm excited for it. Okay. So I got to be honest from an investor standpoint, because, I am surrounded by other investors, and then, people that have been investing for 30 years, they don't work anymore. They just invest. Right.
Mhm.
And, Amazon automation is one of those
Mhm.
trigger points that a lot of people hear and they think
Mhm.
scam right away, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I'm very curious from a marketing standpoint, how do
Mhm.
you market against that? Or is it even something that's happening? Because maybe it's just
Yeah.
because I'm in those circles, I'm hearing that, and it's just my sphere of influence. But
It's
maybe
I love it. It's a
okay,
great question. My leading angle is that about automation.
okay,
That being said, and we are going to start toning that back somewhat, but it's mostly to say this: you can build it to be scalable. Okay, now to speak to the investors, be forewarned. There are some significant issues in the
hmm
e-commerce training space with the DFY. Okay. And I just listened to a call review of one of our setters today
hmm
where this couple, truck drivers, nope, we don't want to, we don't want to touch anything. And we heard automation. And so there can be misperceptions about that, which is
right,
kind of a separate conversation. But the main point is this: I would say buyer beware for any
hmm
DFY done
okay,
for you, because I get it. There's investors who are like, if I could, I got money to invest, but I don't want to have to learn this whole thing. Couldn't I
right.
just pay someone to build it for me? So we don't do that. We are the e-commerce business school. So I'm in
I love
more
that.
about empowering and educating people. So I don't have the business model of doing the done for you. But here's
Okay,
what is going on in the industry. It is so rife with straight up ripoffs. I hate
uh-huh,
to say it because I've been here 18 years. It just makes me
yeah,
sick. But it looks like this. They'll start around 40K, and I've heard the recent one is 65K, and they're now being taken to the FTC.
hmm
So they get these big, large wads of cash from a would-be buyer, and they're gone. And I hear so many stories of this. And I had a friend from in the industry. She came to me, and we put down 30K. He was supposed to do it for us. We did this. We spent this, all this stuff to get it going. And the guy gone. So it's very alluring. It's like the sirens from Greek
right.
mythology. That it sounds so alluring, but I'll tell you what, you won't own the assets, number one.
hmm
And a typical done for you. You better read over that agreement really thoroughly, because you will not own your Amazon store.
hmm
They'll control the profit distribution per what they say, but what do you really know? And are they going to disclose all the, I've only heard one good story that came in through us, and she said, it's working for me. And the problem is I don't know the first thing of what's going on inside my business.
Yeah,
Ouch.
that's
Me
a red flag.
personally, my personality isn't bent towards that, but I get it
Mhm.
from an investor. If they find someone who can do it, good on you, but they're hard to find. The trust level has to be over the top, and they're buying from perfect strangers,
Right.
and they're getting ripped off from 30 to 65K.
And perfect strangers that are really good marketers.
That's
And
the key.
they build really
You
good
know it.
funnels. Yeah.
See, Doug, that is the key. And I'll tell them there's a lot of really good marketers out there, and they hang their shingle on the XYZ and the XYZ.
Mhm.
But where most of them fail in operations,
Yeah.
in the online
100%.
space, because they studied all the marketing, they got into ClickFunnels and the do and the this and the that, and then they create this great alluring copy. But
Mhm.
can they deliver the goods? And I got to tell you, I've worked with quite a few people where I thought I might be partnering up with them, and then they end up
Mhm.
a shallow, what do you call it, a hollow shell.
Yeah.
They can't even manage a team.
Mhm.
I mean, they're like, Ann, I just had 2 people quit on me. And then they're sending them to me to train their
Yeah.
people. And it's just like, so all too often in this space, they're poor operators and they
Mhm.
don't know how to manage a team, but they know how to market,
Yeah.
and they rip off a lot of people.
And like you said, a lot of these principles are universal, right? So in sales, it's the salesperson that, breaks records and tears it up and then thinks oh, I'm just going to start my own thing. And then,
Mm,
then it gets really bad. Right. And so then they realize, oh, that's what that business owner was doing this whole time. How was I still
exactly.
getting paid those big bonuses? I don't understand it. Well, the business owner didn't take a paycheck that week. You know what I mean? Because they had to
Yeah. Oh,
follow
yeah.
through on the bonus. The
Yes.
fulfillment payment wasn't there yet. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
it gets real fast when you go through that. But no, thank you for explaining that to us. I mean, it's pretty simple. DFY, buyer beware. That's
Mhm.
that's the thing that you need to listen for when
Mhm.
you get a proposal for Amazon automation investment.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, there is a few people in our groups that work in the Amazon space, and
Mm.
none of their stuff is DFY, which makes
Oh,
sense why they're still in the groups.
yeah. Yes.
That's how that
Yes.
works.
Yeah. And I
Awesome.
mean, it's heavy duty to do it done for you and the promises that you're going to make and keep. Now, I can keep my promises of what we can deliver for training
Right.
and mentoring and our processes and systems that are proven. But a DFY, and you know for a fact those things are going to convert. You really do. Typically takes a lot of testing.
You know, it's funny you say that because it makes so much sense in consulting. A lot of people approach me, they want a guarantee on results. And it's like,
Oh,
you're operating a business that I'm not going to be in after this 90 days. And you
yeah.
want results in 6 months or results in a year. And it's like, you could get pissed off one day and fire your sales manager. And then you got to retrain someone brand new on the sales program I just built for you. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
going to take another 3 months, like there's no way I can give you any kind of a
No.
guarantee. And that's my
And
first red flag is I don't want to work with that client.
100%. I'm the same way. And I'll say, nope, I can't guarantee your results because I don't even know you. I don't know your work ethic. I don't know
Yeah.
your mindset. I don't know if you're going to show up in the morning, roll up your sleeves, and get to work. And so you want me to guarantee your results?
Hmm.
No way. I don't know. Will you have to knock on the door to get you off the couch?
Hmm.
And I say, well, I can guarantee you what I deliver, but I can't guarantee what you'll do with what I deliver. But I
Absolutely.
100% agree. And those are these fear leading people that then want to blame you for their failure. It's like,
Hmm.
nope, because that's it. They're just looking for their excuse card in advance.
Right. 100%.
So, yeah.
Okay. So second to last question here, and you can kind of walk me through it. And this is on the education side of your business. Walk me through the profit projection calculator. How does that work?
Oh, yeah. So now that is specifically made for arbitrage sellers. So
Okay.
there's again all these different sourcing methods: wholesale, private label, liquidation, print on demand, etc. But also often people say, well, what do I need to invest? So speaking of investment, that's what they invest into products.
Hmm.
They want to know upfront. It's a really legitimate question. What do I need to invest in order to reach this income? So we put together this profit projection calculator. It's basically we turn it into an app, but there's a training that goes with it. You guys have to
Yeah.
cover it with education. You don't just give it and they're just playing with this thing, not knowing what's going on.
Right.
Because in the education in the video, we show them how you can lower the cost of shipping through Amazon. How do you increase your profitability? So in other words, you start with this baseline performance,
Hmm.
but through what we teach, here's how we can optimize decreasing your cost of goods, thereby increasing your profit margins. How do so it's a multivariate situation. So it's not like carte blanche. Well, if you put in 5K, you're going to get this. I
Right.
mean, it doesn't
That's the
work that way.
DFY stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we're going to talk real world. And so, anyways, we do a monthly workshop and in their web class, and in there we train on that as part of it because they genuinely want to know because they're trying to reverse engineer. Well, I
Yeah.
want to replace my full-time job doing XYZ. I need
Exactly.
7 grand a month. How much product do I need to invest in to get 7K a month?
Hmm.
Very legitimate question. That's why we created the app.
Oh, that's fantastic. And we'll include a link to that in
Yeah.
the show notes as well. I think you provided us with everything we need for that. So obviously, just outside looking in, you're going to leave an amazing legacy of entrepreneurship and to your kids, right? But
Mhm.
when it comes to intentional legacy, what legacy do you want to leave behind?
Alrighty. So again, harkening back to my dad,
Hmm.
is I feel that my personal calling, where I've landed in my life, is to create as many entrepreneurs, successful, home based, family sourcing, strengthening the family economy, because that is going back to the originations of our country, that the majority of the citizens were business owners. And you're like, they were? Yeah,
Absolutely.
farmers. And so I believe that the strength of a nation is more when you have people who take ownership of their outcomes, rather than just, we became an industrialized nation in the early, late 1800s, early 1900s.
Mhm.
And that was a time of going into the factories and turning school systems into factories, which I'm very adverse to. That's what they are. They're factories. And they train you. My dad always said schools are nothing but to train you to be obedient. They're not to make you creative. My dad's a physicist. He has a PhD in physics. And yet that's what he was categorizing as the school. It's to train you to be obedient and not a whole lot more. I'm like, wow. In other words, when the bell rings, what do? You line up. Anyways, and for entrepreneurship, you've got to be able, you shouldn't be in a place where you have to be told to line up. You line up on yourself. I line up to show up. You know what I mean? And so my passion is about the family, because so goes the family, so goes the nation as well. And so the more I can economically empower each family, then they can better self-actualize in life, in their families, their dream for their family, the legacy for their family. And they all have it to whatever extent. Now it's to bring it out and say, you can have it. It can happen. It can happen within your family. So I'm not interested in just helping people make money.
Right.
It's what it will do for their lives transformationally, and especially as they do it within the ecosystem of their family.
And impacting the nation in that sense.
100%. You ask them what they want to do. I want to give to this charity. I want to be able to, I want to do this. I want to do that. But they're all locked down in this job with a ceiling that doesn't allow them this dream of, okay, one gal I just spoke with, it's her dad is 62, he has COPD, he's got health issues, and he's doing, DoorDash.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just wrapped rheumatoid arthritis on top of it. She said, Ann, I want to get him out of that. He's really smart and he could do this business with me. Fantastic. I said, first on the list here. So let me just show you. This goes out in the mail to my members. I said, you're going to have one of these shipped out to you. Goal number 1, get your dad off of DoorDash. Okay. Goal number 2, she wants her son and her nephew are each age 13 working in her business. Awesome. You want to get out of your job. Awesome. And then you put this here and you rally your family around these goals. You got to give them something to shoot for. Everything in life is about hitting a target. And then you go to the next target and the next target. And every way along the way, you're celebrating each target that you met.
And I got to tell you something. What you just showed me, I've consulted sales orgs with 1,000+ people. I've had, my own sales teams with 100+ people. And I've been around a lot of amazing sales leaders, and they fail to do what you just did every time, which is create a working visual for individuals to hit their goals. And, I'm a big believer in the Comma Club and we call it OG Club, which is 2,000 a week.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's where you get to 6 figures, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something that we've really pushed a lot, but you're just getting into the sales and sales management piece and owning the sales team. And you've already got a visual like that. You're going to be fantastic. So I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Thank you. We actually shipped that out to our Amazon sellers, but I was doing a one-on-one with one of our closers and I said, I need to get this shipped out to you.
Exactly.
Because I found out what her goals are. And I said, my job is to help you hit that goal. And it's a big one. And it was heart-wrenching. She was in tears about it. And I said, that's what we're going to knock down. And I want to know the day that happens, how you're going to celebrate that, because I want to celebrate it with you.
Hell yeah. And then when they write down that goal, it gets stored in their subconscious and they see that on the sheet every day, it's over. Just a matter of time.
I'll tell you where it came from. It was one of my Amazon coaches, and she said, yeah, and what I did is I created this little poster. I put it on the wall, and she described it. And her little daughter, who was like 6 at the time, Mommy, what happens when we hit that 100K? I'm like, okay, guys, we're going to create a poster like that.
Disney World.
And that's what she's done with them, actually.
Awesome.
She said, we don't buy stuff. We create memories through trips.
Yes.
That's her thing in her family. But I'm like, okay, team. And so my son probably created that graphic. I don't remember, but, and now it gets shipped out to every member. But the sales team, yeah, they need it just as much. Because her goals were kind of like, oh, this is exactly what our members talk about.
Yeah.
You know,
that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Ann, and sharing your plan for your legacy with us and your insight into online sales and marketing and the family dynamic behind owning your own business and how you can incorporate them in it. That's going to be fantastic for our listeners. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, you're very welcome. My pleasure.
All right, let's get building.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Building Great Sales Teams. We appreciate it. Be sure to execute on everything that you just heard, and let's get building. Before we sign off, we'd like to invite you to join our Brickyard community. Head on over to jointhebrickyard.com. Again, that's jointhebrickyard.com, or click the link in the description to find out more.